Good afternoon to all. Today I'll be talking about human development in relation to the socio-cultural context. To begin with, slide 1. The focus the focus of the decision will be on theories, philosophies and perception of human development in terms of socio-cultural context, as it comprehends a vivid representation of how I see it as a human development in terms of social cultural context in Fiji. Moving on to slide 2. In this slide, it exposed my insight of human development in social cultural context. Living in a Pacific island country, I feel that we should live all in one in Pacific, respecting each other's value, striving peacefully to remove all form of prejudice and harmony in order to live. As it is said, united we stand, divided we fall, conferring to figure 1. It highlights the importance of everyone working together to improve society where everyone can live in peace. All men and women must rise up and live equality. In the basically my considerate is the interaction between people and culture in which they live. As we go on to slide 3, this slide will go through a few Western theories about human development. The three theories I'll explain about are Erickson's psychosocial theory, Piaget's theory of consecutive development, which are grand theories of Lev Vygotsky's social cultural immigrant theory of development. Slide 4. Taking a close look at Erickson's psychosocial theory, Erickson's description of the 8 stages of life has a lot of demand, and Erickson himself was described in the early 1980s as the fifth most influential psychologist of the country. Erickson's theory described the impact of social experience across the whole lifespan. Number 1. Basic trust versus mistrust. This stage occurs between birth and 1 year of age, where the infant is utterly dependent, and as a result, the development of trust is dependent on the child's caregivers, consistency and excellence. At this age, infants learn to trust people, especially those who look after their essential components such as food, warmth, love, and etc. They should get the impression that they are being looked for, and that all of their and that all for their requirements are being satisfied. Small infants are unfamiliar with the outside world and may see it as unsafe. It basically depending on how well they are treated by individual from one place to the another, as the sensation of being frightened could be overcome via confidence. When this occurs, the newborn gain confidence and learn to trust those around them. For instance, the parents of a baby provide with food, shelter, clothing, education, and make them feel comfortable and secure. Number 2. Autonomy with shame or doubt. The second phase takes place during childhood, and Erickson believed learning to control one's bodily function leads to a feeling of control and a sense of independence. If a child don't take care of of his own basic requirements and must rely on others, he may feel ashamed when he sees other children his age who are actually feeding themselves and learning to potty. Number 3. Initiative is guilty. During in the year of children, through through play and other social interaction, children begins to assert their authority, and they believe they are capable of leading others. Those who fail in acquire those who fail in acquire these skills are left with a sense of guilt self-doubt and lack of initiative. Number 4, industry-based inferiority. From the age of 5 to 10 years old, children begin to develop a sense of pride in their accomplishment of the ability. During during this erection stage of development, children grow competitive. Children desire participating in activities that other children their age can. Finally, a task finally a task develops self-confidence. Nevertheless, failure would make them feel that they are inferior to others. Number 5, identity-based confusion. During the adolescence, children explore independence and develop a sense of self-esteem, which leads to fidelity, which according to Erikson is a ability to live by society's standard and expectation. Roughly, teenagers might be perplexed and unconfident whether a particular activity is a age appropriate for them. Aspiration from themselves and others may also lead to catastrophe at this period. For instance, parents and families of teenagers. Number 6, intimacy versus isolation. The standard of love is a result of successful resulting the point, which involves the era of early maturity, when people discover relationship because they connect with so many people throughout the stage of their lives. Youths are particularly sensitive to feel of closeness and loneliness. Individuals are often not capable of finding a unique mate, and some people may opt to remain single for the remainder of their life. Number 7, generativity versus stagnation. Throughout maturity, it is categorized by a concentration on one's profession and family responsibilities. Adults around their 40s and 50s are more likely to find purpose in their work. They believe that during this stage of life, people ought to be able to contribute constructively to society and leaving a lasting influence. While failing to accomplish, they may feel like they have been an unproductive member of the society. Number 8, integrity versus despair. The final psychosocial stage occurs during an old age and is focused on reflecting back on life. People feel proud of their accomplishment and feel a sense of integrity. The elder is included in this phase and typically retired. It is critical for them to feel fulfilled in their youth, knowing that they are accomplished something worthwhile. When one looks back, when one looks back on one's life, they might feel satisfied and believe they have lived at least to the finest. If one hasn't achieved anything in their lives, they are likely to feel hopeless. As we are going to slide 5, considering Pigot's idea of conjunctive development, Pigot produced a four-stage theory of intellectual development based on the children's observation. Number 1, the sensor the sensory motor stage. The sensory motor stage during this earliest during the earliest stage of conjunctive development, infants and toddlers acquire knowledge through sensory experience and multiplying objectives. As kids interact with their environment, they are continually making new kids sorry they are continually making new discoveries about how the world works. Children not only learn how to perform physical action such as crawling or walking, they also learn a great deal about language from the people with those they interact. Secondly, the pre-operational stage, children become more skilled at pretend play during this stage of development. Yet they continue to think very con- concretely about the world around them. At this stage, kids learn through pretend play but still struggle and logic sorry but still struggle with logic and taking the point of view of other people. They also often struggle with understanding the idea of loyalty. For example, a researcher might take a lump of clay, divide it into equal pieces, and then give a child the choice between two pieces of clay to play with. One piece of clay is rolled into a compact ball while the other is smashed into a flat pancake shape. Since the flat shape looks larger, the pre-operational child will likely choose the piece even though the two pieces are exactly the same size. Thirdly, the, the concrete operational stage. While children are still very concrete and factual in their thinking at this point in development, they become much more adept at using logic, while taking becomes much more logical during the concrete operational state. It can also be very hard. Children learn to consider how others would react and feel in similar situation. Kids in the concrete operational stage also begin to understand that their thoughts are unique to them and that not everyone else necessarily share their thoughts, feelings and opinions. Lastly, the formal operational stage is the concluding stage of Piaget's theory containing an increase in logic, the ability to use deductive reasoning and a thoughtful of intellectual idea. At this point, people become skilled of seeing multiple potential explanations to problems and think more scientifically about the world around them. As children progress through these four phases, Piaget believes that their thinking becomes more qualitative. A child at age 7 doesn't just have more information about the world than he did at age 2. There is a change in how think about the world. Slide 6. Zone of proximal development. The distance between the actual development level of the learner as determined by the independent problem solving and the level of potential development is determined through problems solving under adult guidance or collaboration with more capable peers. It is the area of ex- exploitation exploitation for which the student is conjunctively prepared but requires help of social interaction to fully develop. Slide 7. Human development, in my opinion, is the process by which a child progresses from childhood to maturity and then adulthood. The most importantly, the education and skill taught in them by parents which will be part to use to improve society's living standards. Human development includes the quality of our upbringing, the sort of education which receives, and the job routines people pursue. Because our elderly are more experienced and skilled, we learn much more about neighborhood and environment when people communicate and engage with each other. In our community, people develop enable us all to contribute to society as productive member. We are essential what we have been taught since we were children. Our families, teachers, and values as a whole have a significant impact on our lives. Parents begin to educate their children via shaping social interaction, creating politeness, and teaching them how to behave properly in social circumstances. Luke encourages that youth to practice the development manner, teaching without being harassed if they make a mistake. Luke advises parents to be a patient with younger children because years will teach them as much as anything else. Having a decent group of supports contributes a better life. People can make certain that young children grow to love their company by ensuring that children receive all their goods things that they receive receive all their goods things there and from their hands instead from the hand of servants or other adults. People are all vulnerable toward both goods and bad, but it is totally up to us to make judgments. Being a contributing member of society and the nation, we must make a proper decision now. As we go to the concluding slide 8, moreover, the certain moreover the, the current human development modernization theory is a theory used to explain the process of modernization that a nation goes through as it transition from a traditional society to a modern one. In addition, creation of theory has been linked to American social scientists in the 1950s rather than to a single person. Unlike Thomas Hobbes, Locke believed that human nature is characterized by reason and tolerance. Human behaviors made it easier for people to be selfish. With the introduction of currency, this is evident in a natural state of all people were equal and independent, and everyone had a natural right to defend his life, healthy, liberty, or possession. As I conclude it over here with my human development in relation to the social cultural context. Thank you.